This is Team Two's Estonia Country Analysis presentation, presented by Kari Smith, Andrew Vincent, and myself, Raven Worley. Our outline: Kari's going to lead us off talking about the country background and business practices. She'll give it to myself. I'll talk about the economic situation. Then I'll hand it to Andrew, and he'll talk about the country's competitiveness and healthcare. I'll give it back to me, and we'll talk about some recommendations and then wrap it up with a conclusion.
Estonia is located in Eastern Europe and is between Latvia and Russia and borders the Gulf of Finland and the Baltic Sea. Estonia is about double the size of New Jersey. It is approximately 42,000 square kilometers of land and 2,900 square kilometers of water, and includes 1,520 islands in the Baltic Sea. Estonia first declared independence on February 23, 1918, from Soviet Russia with the assistance of German troops. Soon after this, Russia began to invade Estonia again and soon took Estonia back over. After 73 years of fighting for their independence, Estonia finally gained its independence on August 20th, 1991. The capital city of Estonia is Tallinn. Estonia is currently represented by a parliamentary republic government, and the current president is Kirsten Kaljulaid. She is also the first female president of Estonia. The total population of Estonia is approximately 1.244 million people. 68.9% of this population live in urban Estonia, and 31.1% live in rural Estonia. Of this population, the per capita of people living in the capital of Tallinn is 35.12%. Business practices. The official language in Estonia is Estonian, with Russian also widely used. The literacy rate of Estonia is 99.8% for female and males over the age of 15. The time zone of Estonia is Eastern European Time and is the Coordinated Universal Time +2. This means that Estonia is 7 hours ahead of Washington, D.C. in the United States during Standard Time. Estonians work 5 days a week for 8-hour days for a total of 40 hours a week and cannot exceed 12-hour days. Estonia has a labor force of about 670,000 people, which is 2.7% in agriculture, 20.5% in industry, and 76.8% in services. The current exchange rate in Estonia is 0.8831 euros for every $1. Now Raven will discuss the economic situations of Estonia.
Alright, the economic situation. Estonia became an EU member in 2004, but didn't officially become part of the Eurozone in 2011. The economy of Estonia is modern market-based, and among the Central Europe and Baltic regions, Estonia's per capita income levels are one of the highest. However, the country is dependent on trade and leaves Estonia susceptible to outside economic blows. According to Estonia's successive governments have pursued a free market, pro-business economic agenda, and sound fiscal policies that have resulted in balanced budgets and the lowest debt-to-GDP ratio in the EU. Estonia's economy sectors gather strength from electronics and telecommunications, and in 2007 brought increased labor productivity as a faster growth rate than labor costs. However, the labor shortages in both the skilled and unskilled sectors continue to challenge Estonia, even though the government revised immigration laws to make it easier to hire foreign workers and that were highly qualified. In addition to the outpaced productivity gains from wage growth, The government is also pursuing efforts to boost productivity growth with a focus on innovation that emphasizes technology startups and e-commerce. Estonia's economy is expected to grow 3% throughout 2019 and only expand 2.6% through 2020. Estonia holds an overall economic freedom score of 76.6, placing the country as the 15th biggest economy in the world, while also holding the position of 7th among the 44 European countries, which places Estonia above the overall and regional averages. As of 2017, Estonia's purchasing power parity was 41.65 billion and placed the country 115th in the world. The GDP composition by sector consists of agriculture at 2.8%, industry at 29.2%, and services at 68.1%. Estonia's agricultural products consist of grains, potatoes, vegetables, livestock, and dairy products, and additional fish. While industrial products consist of food, engineering, electronics, wood products, textiles, information technology, and telecommunications. The official exchange GDP rate as of 2017 was 25.97 billion, with a real growth rate GDP of 4.9% and a per capita GDP of 31,700. Minimum wages reached 500 euros a month, or 565 US dollars per month in 2018, which is an all-time high, and that was during the second quarter of 2018. It also reached 1,321 euros, which was another all-time high, and also put it at 1,495 US dollars per month. But it dropped to 1,291 euros a month, or 1,461 US dollars per month in the third quarter, and the current exchange rate is 1 euro to 1.13233 US dollars. Estonia has imported 14.42 billion in commodities, including items such as machinery and electric equipment at 28%, mineral fuels 11%, food and food products at 10%, vehicles at 9%, chemical products at 8%, and metals at 8%. While it exported a total of 13.44 billion and included items such as machinery and electrical equipment at 30%, food products and beverages at 9%, mineral fuels at 6%, wood and wood products at 14%, articles of base metals at 10%, furniture and bedding 11%, vehicles and parts at 3%, and chemicals at 4%. Estonia's major import partners are Finland at 14%, Germany at 10.7%, Lithuania at 8.9%, Sweden at 8.5%, Latvia at 8.2%, Poland at 7.2%, Russia at 6.7%, Netherlands at 5.9%, and China at 4.7%. While Estonia's major export partners include Finland at 16.2%, Sweden at 13.5%, Latvia at 9.2%, Russia at 7.3%, Germany at 6.9%, and Lithuania at 5.9%.
Hello, this is Andrew Vincent, and I'm here to talk to you today about the country of Estonia and competitiveness in their healthcare system. To begin, Estonia has very competitive public institutions. The University of Tartu was established in 1632. It's Estonia's oldest higher education institution, and it's one of the oldest in Northern Europe. The University of Tartu prides itself on having many notable alumni, including 2 Nobel laureates in medicine and chemistry. Moving on to clear property rights, Estonia has a developed legal system that protects and facilitates the acquisition and disposition of all property rights. This covers land, buildings, and mortgages. It also covers intellectual property, and enforcement is very good in Estonia. There are very few instances where there are infringements and theft of intellectual property. That being said, Estonia also has an extremely strong judicial independence. Specifically in Chapter 8 of the Constitution of the Republic of Estonia, Estonia provides a structure and a 3-level court system. In administrative courts, appeal against the courts of the first instance shall be heard by courts of the second instance. So in short, The courts of appeal are situated in the capital of Tartu and Tallinn, and the Supreme Court is situated in Tartu and is the highest court of the land. Estonia fares very well in innovation. Specifically, they like to foster and innovate entrepreneurship. There have been many famous tech startups in Estonia, some of which include Skype, TransferWise, Fortumo, and many others. Estonia also has a very complex and first world communication infrastructure in place. Some say it has the most advanced mobile market in Europe. There are even ongoing 5G trials for this infrastructure that relates to the mobile market, and it has some of the highest broadband penetrations in Europe. Currently, as of 2017, the landline telephone subscriptions exceeded 362,000. There are 29 subscriptions per 100 inhabitants, ranking Estonia 107th in the world. Like I said, there's no shortage of cell phones in Estonia. As of 2017, cell phone subscriptions were at just under 2 million. Looking at their internet, TV, and radio ownership, as of 2016, ownership person throughout the entire country was just over 1 million. This also translates to about 87.2% of the population having internet, TV, and radio ownership, ranking Estonia 132nd in the world. Internet services are widely available in schools, libraries, are all connected to the internet, and a large percentage of the population files income tax returns online. They also have online voting is available to citizens. And about 85% of Estonian households have broadband access. There are also many radio channels in Estonia to choose from, specifically the ERR, which is the publicly owned broadcaster, operates 3 different TV channels in Estonia with 5 different radio networks. Roughly 85% of Estonian households also have access to digital television services. Moving on to roadways. Estonia does have a vast paved and non-paved road network, including urban roadways. There are more than 6,000 miles of roads in Estonia. There are also many unpaved roads that almost triples the paved roads of 29,000 miles, ranking Estonia 57th in the world. Then moving on to waterways, Estonia has right around 200 miles of navigable waterways that are accessible year-round. That's not much compared to a lot of other European countries. The Mogojogi River is the only river in Estonia that's available, it's the only river in Estonia which is navigable over its whole length. The longest river is in the central part of Estonia called the Parnu River. And this river travels from Tallinn, the capital of Estonia, and the Pareide River is of utmost importance as its water is discharged via the canal to Lake Olimesite, which supplies Tallinn with much of the city with their municipal water. With that being said, Estonia ranks 90th in the world in waterways. For waterways, we're going to go ahead and look at airports and other modes of transportation in Estonia. Estonia has a total of 18 airports, ranking them 140th in the world. The most notable airport in Estonia is going to be Lennart Meri Tallinn Airport, which was ranked the 3rd best airport in Europe and the 9th best in the world based on an overall experience survey taken with travelers in 2017. Also, Estonia's main rail lines connect the capital with Tartu and Narva. As of 2016, railways in Estonia totaled 1,300 miles across the country, ranking them 72nd in the world. After competitiveness in the country, now we're going to go ahead and look at the healthcare system in Estonia. Unlike many of the northern European countries, Estonia has a municipal healthcare system, which is solidarity based in regard to a social insurance system. This means that healthcare services in Estonia are for everyone according to their individual needs. It also means that you can accept the same kind of quality treatment across the country. So this is kind of a one-size-fits-all healthcare system, if you will. There are currently 19 main hospitals in Estonia. There are also over 20 private hospitals throughout the country that provide different levels of service and have different levels of agreements with the federal government. With that being said, Estonia's healthcare system has a strong reliance on payroll contributions, and this has been said that the overall system is now vulnerable because still 3/4 of the health spending is publicly funded, which gives the population more protection than in neighboring countries in the region. Going to their hospital bed analysis, there was a study conducted by the World Bank in 2011 which stated that there are 5.3 hospital beds per 1,000 people in Estonia. Hospital beds included inpatient beds available in public, private, and general and specialized hospitals and rehabilitation centers across the country. In most cases, beds for both acute and chronic care are included. Managers of surviving hospitals have to improvise and ingeniously cut costs, avoid unnecessary treatment, and overdevelop profitable services, and postpone investments into infrastructure and hospital buildings. For example, due to the low-priced outpatient services in public hospitals, there is no incentive to reduce the waiting list, and patients are often forced to appeal private institutions. In spite of the economic success in the country with this healthcare system, healthcare professionals feel widely across the board that they are neglected, and they are expecting more proportional attention and further investments from the government into the system. I'm Andrew Vincent, and that has been Estonia's competitiveness in healthcare systems for this week's presentation. Thank you.
Alright, now for some of our recommendations. Most of them were economically. So Estonia could stand to make a few improvements. While Estonia has a strong electronics and telecommunications sector, they are still suffering from labor shortages in both the skilled and unskilled workforces. We believe that Estonia should implement some type of internship or apprenticeship programs to assist in getting the country's unemployed into these programs to help boost them into job placements into the electronic and telecommunications sectors in order to assist in reducing the country's unemployment rate. Additionally, while the euro is still pretty strong compared to the US dollar, the country's minimum wages and wages should be increased at least a couple of euros an hour. Furthermore, with these internships and apprenticeship programs implemented and after a specific, while not yet identified time frame, these now skilled laborers could be enticed by the Estonian government with incentives to pursue an entrepreneurial startup, thus continuing to grow the skilled and unskilled workforce to cut labor shortages. Estonia's partnerships with Finland in building the Baltic connector. Estonia also should pursue the idea of building their own fuel storages to increase the reserves. Estonia should look farther than just the EU for trade agreements, especially with Estonia's strong electronics and telecommunications sector, as well as the ease of their economic freedom. They should look hard to into Latin America and Sub-Saharan Africa, as both of these regions are developing vastly with electronics and communications to build their economic infrastructures. Estonia needs to also investigate deeper into the banking sector, as there is a history of money laundering in the past. Along with this, organized crime, drug trafficking, and money laundering is on the rise. Estonia has also seen synthetic drug production growth, along with an increase in cannabis, cocaine, and opiate transshipment. If these problems are not handled accordingly, this eases and promotes prime opportunities for these criminals to continue to build these transnational legalities and increase the nature of the crimes to per se human trafficking, terrorist support and activities, and start infiltrating and corrupting the police and political ranks. Alright, this is our conclusion around what we talked about today. We talked about the country background, business practices, economic situations, the country's competitiveness, healthcare, and some recommendations. This is our references on both of these slides. Wraps it up, and I hope you enjoyed our presentation.